Hello everybody, I didn't do a live here in the last 24 hours. I've been really busy with a lot of things. I had to reschedule a lot of stuff that was important to do. It's still important to do, and I'm going to get that done, but it's going to have to be rescheduled to next week. I hope all parties will be able to work all that in. I guess I'll reach out. As well as I put in here Oxford paper. I didn't make it, but you know what? That went all the way till after 10 o'clock tonight. So I think definitely I reached out and reached a lot of people. And there was a lot of time and commitment by Oxford to put the short list of papers. So we can look at it whichever way. Obviously, it took a lot of time as they closed at 5 o'clock. They're 5 hours ahead of us. And I didn't get an email till after 10 p.m. their time tonight. So, not bad. Who knows? I wasn't thinking I would get selected. It's there. People read it. Everybody should be happy. What makes me more happy is all of you are going to get it now, as well as it's going to go out to all the UNSC. I have all their contacts. They're going to get it too. Something to read. And that brings me to the point of this video, which is clearly upsetting. It's upsetting. So Joe Biden, if you haven't heard, has expelled a whole bunch of diplomats from Russia. I don't know if that includes the UNSC or not. I can't see it. I don't think USA should or could do that, but they may. They may very well have. I'm going to look at what 10 diplomats were expelled. New imposed sanctions on Russia. They say it's over solar winds and a hack job. They say, America says they traced to the Russian government that they were trying to steal their tech. Which brings me into something I absolutely can tell all of you right now. Nuclear under proliferation. As I said, you can go back. It's published in the Nuclear Atomic Energy Commission right across the world. Joe Biden rolls out his Green New Deal is absolutely bound to nuclear. The whole new generation of super advanced proliferated reactors. Sorry to burst your bubble. Maybe, I guess, Saskatchewan will see a few $1 billion thrown their way or over this energy transition in actual enriched uranium mining. I bet you any money Saskatchewan's going to get hit for that highly enriched 20% uranium that comes out of Saskatchewan. USA is going to be all over that, because that, everybody, is absolutely the only way to complete the energy transition. You can talk solar, you can talk wind, you can talk hydro. It's all what's available and what is going to work in what climate. That's the reality. And there are very few places in this world that will generate green energy in any real sustainable, in any kind of real economic sustainability. The only way is absolutely through proliferation. Canada is a non-proliferation country. We do not run on highly enriched uranium, even though we have the greatest source of it and the highest abundance in the entire world. We will sell that to other countries for pennies on the dollar, while we stay in absolutely non-enriched uranium, meaning we have to tone ours down. We have to constantly reload energy cells, and it costs a whole lot of more money. That's the reality. We signed non-proliferation. We don't get proliferation. They've already discovered as well, too, a battery that runs on the plutonium, the rods, the graphite. You know, when you hear about Chernobyl, the explosion of the graphite that was scattered throughout the region, and anyone who touched a piece of graphite, their life is over. You know, you couldn't even touch it. That graphite, they found a way to make 28,000 year running batteries. Batteries with an energy source of 28,000 years. You can only do that with advanced nuclear technology that only comes from absolute proliferation, which means in our green change, when they talk about using nuclear to explore hydrogen cells, hydrogen batteries, you better have an advanced nuclear program available. You better have graphite as the reactive, and you better be using highly enriched uranium. Ooh, problem, Canada. That's not you. So what is Trudeau taking us on? What is Jason Kenney and the rest of the lunatics talking about? Small package reactors? What are they talking about? Well, I can tell you they're talking about being unviable, uneconomical in today's world. On a green transition or not, there's no reason why Canada could not switch absolutely 100% from fossil fuels. Maybe not entirely 100%, but there's no reason why we couldn't switch absolutely 90% of our energy focus to nuclear if you're going to go that way. Use the highest quality and highest source of enriched uranium in this world. Between Saskatchewan and Alberta, you can actually build a mass amount of power right across this upper crust of the North American continent. We could be world leaders in green tech. We could outproduce everybody on hydrogen, lithium batteries, and all of it. Just go full nuclear. Fully proliferated nuclear. But that's the problem. We're not allowed to. We're tied to the non-proliferation agreement. That's Canada. And why? For all the radical environmentalism, there's no future for Canada whatsoever. There will never be a viability in hydrogen unless we use advanced, highly enriched uranium. These are realities. If you don't believe me, go look at Russia, look at the United States of America, go look at France, go look at a number of other countries that went proliferation before that agreement and then continued forward. But not Canada. We're bound to non-proliferation. Can-do reactors. I know I'm working on one right now. I'm getting quite the education. We don't have the viability, and we never will, to pursue the Green New Agenda deal. It was all about America first and their version, as well as the United Kingdom. They have their version of a Green New Deal, which incorporates North Shore wind power that is 100% stable, a vast array of it, and that works for them. They will be able to harness hydrogen, there's no doubt about it. But what about the rest of us? What about the rest of us? The rest of us can't compete or play on that field. And these small little package reactors that one province, Jason Kenney's trying to roll out, it's a scam, everybody. It's another way to get you to dump a bunch of money into something to replace something that was viable. What does that do to you economically? Don't trust your foreign corrupted politicians. They're not your friends, and they're never going to be. Biden has destroyed probably any chance that Russia and USA are going to make a deal. I mean, never say never. I'll wait to see what happens in 2 months. But I've already heard the whole other side of it from Russia, which is, look, we can't do any dealings with the USA. We're going to battle the USA. That's what they're going to do. And they'll likely team up with China, because what's their alternative? The world is what people make it to be. And you know what? Joe Biden really has a chance here if he's not the garbage that everybody says he is. But already, Mitch McConnell, he's already spoke out just about an hour and a half ago. That's all over Twitter. We're going down the toilet. I don't know what to say. And Canadians still cling to the same idea that somehow it's all going to work out if we just trust our corrupt politicians, if we just blindly put our faith in with zero rules of governance. What's happening with Ukraine and Russia right now over Crimea and all those separatist regions is all a matter of what are the constitutions of those regions, because they have them, And what are the constitutions being imposed by Russia Federation and or Ukraine? These separatists didn't come out of nowhere. They were armed militia groups right inside the regions. Sure, they have Russia firepower, but what did, like the United States, because I can tell you I've read all 50 constitutions of the United States. For example, Texas has a militia. They have their own state army, just in case the American government was to overstep its boundaries on the sovereign division of powers. Texas, as are many regions in the United States, able to muster an army with a snap of a finger and fight the federal government. Now, people around the world say, oh, look at the USA, it's a really warmongering state. I read a paper in the Oxford presentation that was on legal speak, and the big debate came up, and they used the example of the Second Amendment, the terminology, the right to bear arms. Now, I went with plain speak. I don't believe in legal speak. And why I don't, or trying to put these big words and almost talk down to the people, is that if you're going to codify a constitution for the people, by the people, it won't be in traditional legal speak of upperly scholars. I think it should be plain, direct language. The right to bear arms. That to me tells me I have the right to have firearms and bear them should I need to as you go on throughout the Constitution. Pretty straightforward. It's lasted hundreds of years. Nobody can get that wrong. Judges have a hard time being able to write any legislation that breaches that. Plain speak, simple language, clear, and you guys wouldn't imagine in the convention how much time and energy went into that simple, plain speak statement. That was looked at for many, many hours by many great minds. But that is the beauty of plain speak. That's how things should be done. That's what I believe. I think that anybody who reads a document should be able to read it, have no qualms about it. Things should be written that need to be absolute and enshrined in rules of governance. This is a rules of governance. It gave rules that government, whoever you elect, this is the rule for the people, and you can't usurp that. And no court can either. The court looks at it, a judge, they go, geez, the right to bear arms. I'm sorry, if your legislation says anything outside of that, I can't pass it. I have to rule against you. If you bring it to my court, any judge who reads that has to say the right to bear arms, safety, civil right of ownership and licensing and all these other things. I mean, they can throw it there, but at the end of the day, the right to bear arms exists. All 50 states have the right to build militias. That's a division of power in the U.S. Constitution. It's in there, these rules. And then every state made its own constitution. If they didn't come with it when they joined the Union, they absolutely had to build it to join the Union. You had to cement your rules of governance, how to govern, and enshrine all the rights that you were provided by that federation, which is the Union of the United States, which is the federal government. They have their division of powers. The states have cemented theirs in rules of governance. Russia has this too. I am in desperate need of seeing those regional constitutions. What I really laugh at is any one that I've read or any works I've looked at, regional constitutions are not a part of the big global language. Nobody looks at that. I'm probably the only one. Lots and lots of people want to comparatively look at all the different country constitutions, which is basically, yes, every UN state. Look at every UN state. Look at their federal constitution over the whole country, whether they have regions or not. nobody ever looks at the regions. USA and Russia are very close. They're actually closer than everybody wants to admit. They're separated by two-party system, one-party system. That's really all they're seriously separated by, besides key components of the Constitution. But Russia has them too. Even though they use the parliamentary system, they have a ginormous amount of executive power on the federal, but they have regional constitutions. Canada doesn't. People have no idea. Canadians have no idea. Those militias that are rebel rousing in Russia's regions inside the Ukraine right now, the real fight is regions trying to go independent from Ukraine, and a matter of Ukraine and Russia fighting over who's going to be the federal authority over these regions. When possibly, I don't know this for a fact, because I need those constitutions. I need them in English. There is a list of them, not from Ukraine. I'm going to have to dig deep into that. What I want to see is the regional constitutions from the Soviet Union, if there were any. Then I want to see the autonomous constitutions under the region of Russia. Then I want to see the region changes of constitution under Ukraine. I believe if I read those, I'm going to understand the minds of the separatists, and I'm going to know exactly what's going on in the region. Is Russia the bad guy? Is Ukraine the bad guy? Because I can tell you this in absolute international law. If you haven't read the super-powered Magna Carta of the world today, the only living representation of a legal Magna Carta is the 1948 Declaration of Human Rights. I know a lot of Canadians, a lot of groups get into Magna Carta. The living embodiment of Magna Carta is the Declaration of Human Rights 1948. That is the current example in this world, and it's on superpowers. It's been greatly added to, lots in there. Rights to revolution, rights to everything a lot of people want, and it's cemented, except for one of the great powers in this world, Russia, hasn't ratified it. As well, too, Ukraine didn't ratify it. Which brings me back to the United States of America. Why I have a real hard time believing Joe Biden right now, President Joe Biden, or our Canadian government. Because you take a document like the Declaration of Human Rights, if a country hasn't signed that and enshrined those things, you can't really apply your logic, or your legal speak is what they call it. Your logic, your jurisprudence, which is the last message I got from Dmitry. I have a post already written, but I was so boggled down today, and now Russia's kicked out. I don't even know if I'll be able to get English translation anymore. I used to be able to just ask Russia when they pop out a video on the UN or UNSC or world events. All I have to do is go on there if I catch it live and say, English please, and guess what I get? Boom, another pop-up. There's your English. I click on it. I get the whole presentation in English. So I'm a monolinguist. I'm not very good at language. I struggle in writing too. I'm more of a math guy. I'm an economist, but it's tough. It's tough to watch the world go down this toilet. It's tough to measure really with any certainty what really is, because I can tell you right now, UK has no respect whatsoever for regions. So a country like Canada, with all these 10 provinces and 3 territories, you got nothing but supreme autocracy. Politicians who decide what your enshrined rights are, how they will be determined as they're elected in full crown authority. Like, they're kings. They're many little kings with the absolute king prime minister. Conservatives and liberals have known this since 1952. They jointly agreed to this. They're the only parties who've ever held the crown and held the crown power. They absolutely have it, and they don't ever want to give it up. It's the political science design of the Canadian political system. If you ever build a political party, you can make it for anything you want to. As I just got off the phone actually with, I can't say because they're involved in politics right now, but they're pretty loyal with me and they share a lot of stuff, but they're pretty disenfranchised today. I got a lot of disenfranchised phone calls. Gets into not just our mainstream parties, but all the parties right now. A lot of events going on around the country, and then also political narratives in specific provinces. And it's always the same thing, same theme, and I know what that theme is. It's the corruption theme, that we build a party, it gets usurped. We go build another party, it gets corrupted, it gets usurped, and it all goes back down to those who hold the actual legal roles in a party. They can do whatever they want. Politicians are allowed to lie to you, and they've learned this. They've been lying for a very long time. They're very good at it, and they put in what are sleepers. They drop them into your little party. If a mainstream party, starts doing bad things and they know they're losing a bunch of their members, it's okay. They'll form another party, but they drop somebody in there that's going to usurp that. When it gets big enough and it starts to become a problem for the mainstream party, they do a merger, promising all these things for that group, but that's quickly dismissed because the Political Science of Canada is a registered party board of upwards of 5 people, 3 of which have all the power. That's legal in Canada. Nobody else. Make a party of 40 people, 60 people, 80 people, 1 million people. CAs, MLAs, MPs, they can be thrown out. One phone call, the leader can pick up the phone. They're out. They're independent now. Derek Sloan, Randy Hillier, provincial example, federal example. Many have been through it. That's the power. And they can steal your CA, all your CAs. You could have a group of CAs. I have stories across Canada, across the West, to Newfoundland. I got tons. Been at it a long time. I've seen the same characters come and go, and people fall for them again, even though they've destroyed 3 parties, leading right back to the autocracy of what? That crown power, most often than not, they're sworn to. And we got a whole bunch of people out right now tricking a whole pile of Canadians. I'm for you, but they don't promise any constitutional change, which means they want to incorporate the crown. Because when you look at their background, Canadians across all of Canada, they're sworn to the crown. When you see a leader who's got PC in their title, Privy Council, that man or woman has sworn an oath, an absolute oath to Prime Minister, the crown of Prime Minister, regardless of who that is, across whatever aisle. That is pure federalism of our corrupt system. And you can look at their policy and platforms. It may sound really good, but what do they really promise you, Canadians? Do they promise you constitutionalism? Do they say, we're going to write rules of governance, we're going to make sure that all these promises I made to you are going to be lasting, meaning if I get voted out or I pass away, the next leader who comes in isn't going to rip it all up and go the other way. Or even better yet, I'm not going to lie to you and throw it all away. They should commit to constitutionalism. It's insane the provinces and territories with 2/3 of the constitutional powers, which is 2/3 of your rights, Canadians, are not written in any codified constitution. They are absolutely subject to whoever you elect and whatever they want to do. One individual. And Canadians are trying to tell me this is democracy. That, it's okay, I elected a supreme leader to decide how my civil charter and human rights are going to be determined in any given scenario. In fact, I'm going to get this supreme leader to do whatever they want, anytime they want, with any foreign power or interest, regardless of the moral majority of the people. In fact, I elected them on these 10 items, However, they've thrown 6 of them in the garbage, and they've enacted 300 and some other ones that they never once in any forum, town hall, or inter-party communications that they were going to do this. In all their years until the day that they have to release a platform, and they release it, and it's nothing that they talk about or have talked about or continue to talk about. But what they cemented in writing is absolutely quite the opposite. That's Pierre Poilievre. And people are sitting there going, what? And still people don't want to read it. They look at it, oh, I read 3 sentences, I can't read anymore. And there's literally, when you grab all the links, 427 pages of absolute socialism, absolute subsidized housing, absolute me, free, everybody. Except for you, the small business owners, you, the working class, the taxpayer, the one who's on the hook for all the promises. Well, the politicians add raises, expand expense accounts. I was wrong about the $176,000 a year. They're up to $185 now. I forgot they just got their raise. The federal MPs, one naked, stark naked, because he was jogging during business. Imagine if I worked for a living like that, and they're like, Dave, where are you? You're supposed to be here on this weld cutout. I'm like, oh, I'm just in the showers. I went for a jog for 2 hours. Didn't even do my job. I went for a jog. I'm for the people, and then I'm stark naked, standing in front of a camera, right? Unbelievable. You know, and people just sit there like this is normal. That's Canada. Oh, it's okay. Rape me, abuse me, beat me, whip me. And then those who do get involved in politics, I get the same phone calls. I've been going through it for decades. Doesn't matter which party. People will be surprised who picks up the phone and calls me from which parties when, and when their heart's down on the floor and they need somebody to talk to. And it's like, I'm always there, but it's, you know, I don't do the I told you so. I always try to give words of encouragement, let them in, or maybe some secrets I know about other things coming up the pipeline. But it's hard. It's hard for a lot of people. The public, you know, as ignorant as the public is, think about those constituency associations. Think of all the federal districts and what they go through. I hear from lots of them all the time, and sometimes you get that call and somebody's cracked open the bottle and they're at their wit's end, and they just want someone to listen, someone who knows the score. And it's funny, everybody I talk to in those situations, they're always left with, now they know what I'm working on, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. It's all for my kids, their future. My future's kind of already set. I already know where I'll be going. I mean, you know, for the foreseeable future. And I'm just going to keep fighting, little by little, day by day. And I'm going to keep at it. Keep at the growth, the learning, and trying to do more for my fellow man, my fellow Canadians. And that's why the CCP, Canadian Constitutionalist Party, if you haven't figured out that we're absolutely corrupted, we're never going to get any better unless somebody's talking constitutionalism. And if you don't vote for it. Don't vote for it, because it's all a lie. What they put down today will be gone tomorrow. And even though they promise special interest groups of today these things, guess what? As soon as they get big enough, or another special interest group, to expand their voting base, they will take that minority and throw it away. Thanks for getting me to where I am, but now I'm high enough where I don't need you anymore. Or, like I said, the mainstream party comes along and says, hey, look at this. This is a carrot, bag of money, call it what you want. Come merge with me. Scrap all that crap. Collected everybody, rounded up all the cattle. Let's go back to our full autocracy. There's a place for you at this trough. And Canadians, newsflash, from my experience all over politics in the last 20 years as a real one, 80% of the time, the human nature under this crown will take the money, will screw everybody over. Heartbroken time and time again. But you get tough, you realize that there's only one way out of this. Get to the crown, destroy the crown. You do that, or you get the constitutions at least regionally out, or for those that can get to independence, you get the nation constitution out. Either way, it all has to be done. Because without rules of governance and how to govern, you can kiss all your enshrined rights goodbye. Goodbye, forever. Because they will always be subject to some politician who's paid to decide what you are going to have and interpret them as they see fit. And the courts are bound to that crown too. And the authority in our laws and our legal system gives the politicians power, oversight over the courts. If you don't believe me, there's a mass amount of political cases based on this, where, when it came down to it, the judge had to say, "I'm sorry, it's not my authority," even quoting the Crown position that took that right of the judge away. That's reality. There's tons of case law on it. King's Court, that's what we have. That's my talk tonight. I'm going to now work on releasing my Oxford paper. It's raining good here. I got to get back. I'm going to release that to all of you. I'm going to release that to the UNSC. I don't know what's going to happen with Joe Biden now. Is he corrupted? He's put Russia in an impossible situation. I don't know. Maybe it is the China syndrome. I don't know. But it's scary. And I guess we'll see what Russia and USA come to terms with in the next 2 months. But I promise you, if it is not the 1948 Declaration of Human Rights, we're finished. We're finished. And the world is not going to be a better place. It's not going to be. And that has to be on the table. Magna Carta. That is the super-powered Magna Carta. Not the one everybody likes to go back to in 1200. We're talking about 1948, the latest version of Magna Carta. The super version. There's been lots over the years, guys. Bye now, that's my video.